Hey everyone, it's Amador. And as I was putting my mess away and cleaning it up from the last video that I did with the my doohickey, Magnolia doohickey dies, I did get a few requests on showing how I made this little bag. It's a little box bag, little thing that you can tie some ribbon and, you know, give out for a gift. And it was pretty simple. I used one 8.5 by 11 sheet to make it, and yeah, and I'll show you. I had to look for the measurements, so I had to write them down again. And just an FYI, these panels, all of these sections, all I did was just cut the panel 1/4 inch smaller both ways, and that way you get a little border, because this ends up being 3 3/4 by 5, so you would just basically cut it at 4 3/4 by 3.5, and that gives you the little papers. And the same thing goes for here. This one is 1.5, so you would cut the paper at 1 1/4, and it's also lengthwise 5, so it'd be 4 3/4, so you can get those little panels. But let me show you how I made the little bag, okay? Let me grab a piece of paper. So let me see. So I just went ahead and grabbed another sheet, just a scratch piece of paper. I think I was printing a shipping label or whatever, but I always keep my papers that I mess up or whatever, and I use them for scratch, either for dyeing or for whatever, stamping off or whatever. So these are the measurements. So we scored lengthwise, ooh, if I could be in frame, at 1/2 inch, 2 inches, 5 3/4, 7 1/4, and then what we do is we turn our paper this way, and then we score this at 1.5 and 6.5. So that's it, and we basically only cut out one little tiny piece of paper to take off of it. So let's go ahead and actually do it. So we're going to score at 1/2 inch, and then our second one is at 2, then 5 3/4, and 7 1/4. 7 1/4, and so then we turn it to the other side, and it is 1.5, 1.5, and 6.5, 6.5. Okay, so now that we have all of our score lines, we can proceed to just go ahead and fold it and get it going with our bone folder. I've learned not to do it with my finger anymore, because then it like totally messes up the paper. So yes, and here we go. It's pretty simple. Like I said, it took me a few pieces of paper, wasted pieces of paper, so I can figure it out. So you're able to use as much of the paper and get a bigger bag. Get a little bigger bag box. I have no idea what to call it. And I'm sure there's tons of tutorials out there, you guys, trust me. I just like to simplify it for myself and, you know, and get it going. Okay, so this is what we're doing. This is the 1/2 inch part that we scored. And always remember, the larger section is the top and the smaller section is the bottom. So all we're going to do is, out of this 1/2 inch, we're just going to cut this little section right here. Cut to the first score line and to the second score line. Okay, so now you can see this is the top and this is the bottom. And the other cuts that you're going to make are the ones at the bottom. And you're just going to cut each section up to the first score line, to the bottom of the box. So yeah, so you have that section right there. And then all you will do, and I like to put this towards the back, so this will be the front of my box. Now at this point, this is where you would go and choose if you're going to cut this section, cut it out for you to use it in the window. So the way I did it is, all I did was I just took this ruler and then I measured in 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and you can use the score lines to kind of get you going. 1/2 inch all around. Like I said, use the score lines to guide you, and with the cut line right here and the score line down here. And this is if you're using the Ranger the Tim Holtz Ranger window die, because it fits perfectly over that. Let me go grab it. So this is the die that I use. This is the Tim Holtz window and window box die, and it cuts it out like this. So these measurements are, like I said, specifically for this one. You can use whichever one you would like. And then I just cut the acetate to fit in that size. So let's, you know what, I'll just go ahead and cut it now with my thingamahoots. Sorry for all the sounds and noises. Let me get this. Am I even in frame? It'd be a pretty shame if I'm sitting here trying to show you something and I'm not even in frame. And if you're off by a hair or whatever, hey, it's okay, because you can always cover it up with some die cuts, some embellishments. And in all actuality, you don't even have to do this. You don't have to use the window. Oop, totally didn't even cut through that one. Chuck, I'll put that in the bloopers. You can just decorate the bag however you please, or if you have a background in there, you can just layer the bag, the window on top. So you see, and you can see from the back how it covers it. It's right there, and the acetate will go on the inside. I always glue the acetate on the inside, and the window will go right there. Now you can put the window box if you would like. It's, you know, I just wanted to use the window because if you're going to decorate it with a scene, that's just the best way to do it. So here I am with the acetate, and I still have it on my cutting mat so you guys are able to see it. And I cut it at 3.5 by 4.5, so that's well over the size of the space that the window has, and we are going to adhere it to the inside. So I just get that. And I am using the red line. Like I said, you can use red line or score tape. Personally, I would recommend you use one of those two because it is acetate, and some adhesives are kind of junky and they won't stay. So as someone uses the bag or takes out the item, the little window might come with it. So that's why I really think you should use score tape or the red line tape. Because of that, because it's acetate, and most acetates are very different. So I got mine from like one of the office supply places, like Office Depot, Office Max, or something like that. But nevertheless, since it is plastic, it has a coating on it, so you want to make sure you use something that's very strong. Because I've tried even with HEG tape, and on occasions it has popped off. But this stuff works really well. Okay. So, and since it's 3.5 by 4.5, it's much larger than the space, and it gives room for the adhesive and everything, and you don't have to worry about it. So just get it, and it is on the inside. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to adhere the window, and this one you can adhere with ATG. Or whatever tape you want to use, and then just position it, and there you go. So that's that. Now let's go ahead and and once again for the side of the bag, you do want to use, once again, red line or score tape. And let's see here, and you will do it on the entire side, half-inch section. That would be the connector. Let's see. And I always have to use a paper piercer because I don't get it right. Okay. So then you fold it back in. You bring this over the back panel. And there you go. So that is closed. And now you will use some red line tape on. I put it on this one because this is the front, so it faces the back. And on this one, you can use several of them. I plan to use this one for a project, so. But you know what, for now, I'm just gonna put that on there. And I can always put the red line tape over it. So there you go. Now on some of them, and there's your back box. I mean, boom. You can put whatever you want in there. You can see everything. You don't have to put the window. You can do it without the window, so that's always optional. Now at first time I did score halfway through here, but the measurements is the pain in the butt. Really, since it's already scored here and that's where it stops basically, you can just hold it, stick your fingers in here, and pinch it. And you can just pinch it down. And there you go. See? No fuss, no muss on that one. So then you just take your punch or whatnot, and I personally eyeball it because it's going to be covered with ribbon, it's going to be covered with all sorts of stuff. But that is how I made that this thingamajiggy. And like I said, then you can just, the measurements for the panels inside are 1/4 inch both ways than the actual measurement. And that is it. So yeah, see, pretty simple. Like I said, I've probably just taken more time babbling or whatever. You can do a bunch of these. Now, the cool thing also, and the reason why I put ATG on this one was to show you afterwards. Let's say you want to make, you want to make several and you don't want to keep them assembled for a party or whatever, or for Christmas even. You can go ahead and assemble them all the way up to this without having to put anything here, and they will all lay flat. So you can make 20, 30, 50, 100 of them or whatever, and they will all lay flat, and then all you have to do is just put the adhesive down here at the bottom here when you are ready to use them. So that is the only step that you will need to do, and then they're all set up. See? Trust me, I like to simplify my life sometimes. I like to make things beautiful and functional. And like I said, if you don't want to go through the trouble of doing the window, you do not have to. You can use the door die, and that would be kind of cute maybe. I don't have the door die because I'm not cool like that, I guess. Use the door die and hinge it, make it to where you can open it, and there's a stamp inside, a stamped image. Oh my gosh, blew your mind, right? I know. So yeah, so that is it, you guys. I hope you guys like it. Let me know what you guys think, and hopefully, I'll be doing better with my tutorials, all right? So I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.